So my presentation today is concerning the radical trachelectomy. Probably all of you knows that the first person who developed this type of surgery, meaning radical trachelectomy, was Professor Dargent. Professor Dargent died now nearly 20 weeks ago, but he was a very pioneer person, and he developed the radical trachelectomy, meaning preservation of the uterus for young patients having early cervical cancer. So I trained with him and I worked with him for many years, and I will share you my experience and also the development of this kind of surgery right now. Next slide, please. These are the different aspects of the resection of the cervix you can perform. Usually in pre-neoplastic lesion, you do a conization, but also you can do a tracheectomy, that means full amputation of the cervix. And then, as Jean Lévesque has told you previously, you can do radical tracheectomy, radical hysterectomy, meaning that you take part of the parametrium, and we use usually the Kerler-Morrow classification. So we differentiate proximal radical tracheectomy to distal radical tracheectomy. Next slide. Next slide, please. This is, sorry, yes, these are specimens of radical tracheectomy. On the right part of the slide, you can see specimen with the yellow part is the vaginal part of the radical tracheectomy, meaning that you have around 10 to 15 millimeters of vagina, and the blue part, blue dentinite part, is the parametrium, meaning also that you have about 15 millimeters of parametrium along with the cervix. And you preserve the fundus, and we do usually a cerclage. And this kind of surgery was initially developed by Professor Dargent through the vagina. Next slide. When we developed this technique, we had many questions. Is it safe? Is there oncological risk when you compare with over treatment? What are the chances to have a good baby after radical tracheectomy and could benefit of this operation? So next slide. Now we have quite long experience with this approach, and we can answer this question. Next slide, please. When I was in Lyon with Professor Dargent, we have performed, as you can see, 160 radical tracheectomy. It was mainly for early cervical cancer, meaning stage 1A1, but the vast majority 1B1 lesions. These are the classical histologic types. As you can see, the vast majority of the tumor were less than 2 centimeters. And in a quite high number of our patients, about 30%, there were left vascular space involvement that were found on the scolization before the tracheectomy or on the tracheectomy specimen. Next slide. When we check the survey of the follow-up of the patient, you can see that we had 9 recurrence in 160 patients. That means about 6%. In fact, when one recurrence was a neuroendocrine carcinoma, it was not a good case, but it was in the initial experience of our team. And now we know that this kind of tumor has to be treated with chemotherapy, but not with radical tracheectomy. If we look also at the other recurrence, we have 3 recurrences in the parametrium and 4 lymphnodal metastases. It's very interesting that since we perform the sentinel node technique, we have no more lymph nodal metastases. So probably these lymph nodal metastases were abnormal location of sentinel nodes in abnormal area. And we had only 1 centropelvic recurrence it was probably a multifocal adenocarcinoma, and this patient was treated with surgery and radiotherapy and Schiz-Friedel disease. So the rate of recurrence was low, as you can see. Next slide. And in fact, one important factor is the diameter of the tumor. If the diameter of the tumor is very low, meaning less than 2 centimeters, the risk of recurrence is very low, less than 2%. When you perform radical tracheectomy in a tumor more than 2 centimeters, the risk of recurrence is higher. It's about 15 to 16%. And when we review also our data, the chance of pregnancy is quite high. You can see it's about 80%. And birth of living baby is about 65%. One problem with the radical tracheectomy is that there's an increased risk of premature birth or also late miscarriage. And this risk, you can decrease it by doing the cerclage, but there's still quite high risk. The risk is about 10 to 12% of late miscarriage or early birth of the baby. Next slide. After evaluation of our experience, we recommend using this operation, the radical tracheectomy, d'Argens operation, in classical histologic type, stage 1A2 to 1V1, meaning tumor less than 2 centimeters in diameter. In young patients willing to preserve their fertility, we had to have a preoperative MRI to exclude endocervical extension. And we have also the use of the vaginal approach. And in some cases, it's difficult to use it, but we perform this vaginal approach even in nulliparous patients. Half of our patients were without pregnancy, and it's possible to do this surgery through the vagina in vast majority of the patients. Next slide. These results also were approved through the guidelines of the European Society of Gynecology Oncology. You can see in this slide, and you can also check in the literature, the possibility to do a conization or simple tracheectomy in case of negative pelvic lymph node status in a patient with stage 1A1 and 1A2 lymph node negative patient. But second, on the second paragraph, you can see that radical tracheectomy can be considered in a patient with lymph vascular involvement onto the specimen, or also radical tracheectomy can be performed for tumor until 2 centimeters. So our experience was validated through these guidelines. Next slide. Current programs we discuss and we are evaluating are presented right now. There's a lot of discussion concerning the possibility to do radical tracheectomy in case of lymph vascular involvement. What is optimal approach? Do you should perform the radical tracheectomy through the vagina, through the scope, or through robotic approach? And is the parametrium resection required for early cervical carcinoma, meaning very small lesions? And how to offer preservation for more advanced cervical carcinoma, meaning tumor more than 2 to 3 centimeters in diameter. Next slide. Is it safe in case of lymph vascular involvement? As already I showed you previously, in our experience, lymph vascular involvement is present in about 1/3 of our patients, and the risk of recurrence is not statistically increased when you have lymph vascular involvement. Next slide. So right now we perform the sentinel node technique. Here you can see on the right pelvic side the channels that are marked with the blue patent staining and going to the pelvic lymph wall, and with the selective the exeresis of sentinel nodes, we can have very precise evaluation of the nodes through ultra-staging, meaning serial sectioning and immunohistochemistry, and find possibly micrometastases that are related to lymph vascular involvement. Next slide. So, as I told you before, in our experience, lymph vascular involvement is not a prognostic factor of recurrence. Probably the possibility to do the sentinel node technique with ultrastaging of the sentinel node may find micrometastases that are probably a contraindication to fertility preservation. So, in a case of lymph vascular involvement, the sentinel node technique may help to have the good management for the patient. Next slide. Optimal approach for radical tracheectomy. There's a lot of data concerning the different approach. Next slide. For example, we had development of abdominal radical tracheectomy with a lot of papers that have been published during the last 10 years. I present one of the paper. The rate of recurrence is very similar with the one we had with vaginal radical tracheectomy. Next slide. There's also paper concerning the laparoscopic radical tracheectomy. It's possible to perform this surgery through the scope, but it's not so easy because there's the problem of the preservation of the uterine artery. The preservation of the uterine artery is quite easy to perform through the vagina, but not so easy through laparotomy or through laparoscopy. So many teams cut it, and so probably there's a problem with vascularization of the uterus in case of pregnancy afterward. Next slide. And there's also literature concerning the robotic radical tracheectomy with some experience, in particular from Sweden. In fact, when we look at all the publications, the risk of recurrence is nearly the same, whatever the approach of the treatment, and the chance of pregnancy are also quite the same. But it seems also that with laparotomic radical tracheectomy, the chance of pregnancy are decreased compared with mini invasive or vaginal approach. Next slide. There's a lot of questions also concerning the resection of the parametrium. Next slide. There's already some publication that try to reduce radicality of the surgery. You know that Marie Plante from Quebec has designed many studies in order to try to decrease radicality. In particular, she designed a study for cervical cancer less than 2 centimeters treated with no radical hysterectomy, but simple hysterectomy. And also she had performed study comparing simple tracheectomy in case of early cervical cancer. And until now, she had no recurrences, but as you can see, the number of cases are very limited. What we can also say is coming from the review of the literature from Madame Bentivegna, she said that the prematurity rate was lower in patients who had undergone a simple tracheectomy or cone resection compared with other conservative surgeries. So, meaning that more you, and that's quite evident, but more you take from the cervix, more you have a risk of prematurity or probably also of late miscarriage. Next slide. Last point, but it's quite interesting because, as Jean Lévesque told you before, we have quite a high number of young patients with very advanced cancer, and its current evolution in France, but also in Switzerland, we have people coming from other countries without no screening, and that present us with quite a large tumor. And is it possible to make a preservation of fertility in case of more advanced cervical carcinoma? That's the last point I would like to discuss with you. Next slide. We had a good experience now with neoadjuvant chemotherapy. That means that this patient, in case there's no sentinel nodes involvement or pelvic lymph node involvement through the imaging, we do neoadjuvant chemotherapy before radical tracheectomy. The neoadjuvant chemotherapy has the goal to reduce the volume of the tumor and to make probably the surgery more efficient. We have treated more than, you can see, 19 patients. These are the current data that were quite young, 28 years old. Majority of the cases were squamous, but there's also 8 adenocarcinomas. It was quite advanced stage, as you can see, and the tumoral diameter was 3 to 5 centimeters with a mean 3.7 centimeters. And we had 10 complete response with chemotherapy, 7 partial response, and 2 stable disease. And all the cases were treated with radical tracheectomy. We are now a good follow-up of this patient because it's, you can see, more than 5 years. We had 2 very early recurrences in the parametrium and the Douglas push, and the 2 recurrences were in the patient with stable disease. So meaning that in those cases, the neoadjuvant chemotherapy was not efficient, and these patients were treated afterward with radiotherapy. And we already had 4 LCBBs born after this approach. Next slide. You can see some of our patients. For example, this patient 1 was very large adenocarcinoma of the cervix, and she has been treated with chemotherapy, and after chemotherapy, she had no more lesions, and she had radical tracheectomy, and she gave birth recently in Bern, in Switzerland. And for example, second patient was very large cervical carcinoma. As you can see, it was more than 4 centimeters, so it was stage 1B3 or 1B2 at when we look at the figure 2009 staging. And after chemotherapy, the patient seems to be without tumor. In fact, she had a residual tumor at the junction of the parametrium and the cervix, but she was treated with radical tracheectomy, and she is free of disease now for more than 12 years. Next slide. These are my conclusions. It's possible to preserve the fertility in young patients, but you have to give a full information to the patient, and it's very shared decision to have together. Radical tracheectomy is efficient for early stage cervical carcinoma, and the most important prognostic factor is the tumoral volume. So now we are discussing the future evolution. Can we perform less radical surgery for early tumors, meaning doing only simple tracheectomy, or even some cases large conization? And as you have seen just previously, is there a benefit of doing neoadjuvant chemotherapy for more advanced carcinoma? There's some publication concerning this approach that are quite interesting. Next slide. And thanks to everybody.